Okay, this video is going to show you how to take this and turn it into a very simple and easy to build Aegis Defense Line. So basically what I started off with, and you're only going to need a couple simple tools, and as you saw, the package of the mat board is really inexpensive stuff, and that pack you could probably build about 50-60 feet worth of Aegis Defense Line. But you're not going to need much more than really three basic tools: metal ruler, basically good cutting knife, and a pencil. That's all you're really going to need to do this. The simple measurements really from this standpoint that you need to know about really is this thing is about about a little over 2.5 inches long, and if you take one of the long ones, essentially if you do about 2 inches long, about an inch and 2 inch, these are about 5.5. So give or take that, and so you make 4 of these and 4 of the short ones, and you've got a defense line. And as you can tell, here's my orc stuff. I just started adding stuff, and a lot of this is just the bits and stuff from the corners cut over, left over, and just glued on. So the mat board is actually relatively thick, and it's fairly easy to work with. I don't recommend using an X-Acto knife. I actually recommend using this one because the blade, the razor blade in here, is just, it's thicker and it can take more of the pressure. Plus, these blades are a lot cheaper than going through, and the blade does not dull nearly as quick. So that's all you're going to need to do with those are the tools, and at that point it's just a bunch of measuring. Now, because you're going to basically make the same thing over and over and over again, what you'll want to do is take out a sheet of it and then essentially make a template. So this is all you need to do, and here's the template. It's nothing real fancy. It's the templates that basically you need out of the thing, and I'll go through what these templates are. There's nothing overly complicated. This is your main template, and essentially these are just, these lines on here are marking out where I'm going to be doing my bends. So there's my first cut, second cut, third cut, and then I just made some center lines, fourth cut, fifth cut, and a couple of these were mistakes, so actually we'll just flip it over and use these ones. And that's essentially your cuts, and all you do is line it up, cut it out, and use the different portions to mark both sides. And I just use basically the thickness of that ruler is the height of the overall, the highest point of the defense line, and essentially this becomes your template. Now, the one trick you need to do here is, and the unique part with mat board is, it's kind of like foam core in that it's got really two coverings, and they will hold it together. So you just need to basically score one side. And unlike foam core, where the foam is very weak, the mat board actually is very tough. So when you do this, it almost snaps like plasticard, but the backing will hold it together, so you can bend it in some pretty aggressive shapes. So I mean, you can easily make a box out of this. You can do a 90 and a whole thing, and it's going to hold together pretty well. The trick that you got to remember is which directions you're going to do the cut. So your first cuts making things to come over are going to be cut here, and then you're going to need to flip it over and cut on the back so you can actually get that different angle in here. So if you look at again, you'll see the angle as this goes back and forth. You just need to make sure you cut those angles and do that. So essentially, once you got that template, you just use this as your long one, and when you need to make a short one, you just do basically the short bends, and you're done. So essentially this costs you a couple pennies to make this, and it's nice, tough, and durable. It's going to take paint well, it's going to take being thrown around in a box, but if you destroy it, or you want to really make one that's going to be all themed and everything like that, it doesn't cost you much to essentially throw it away or make another one. It's just going to probably take you about 45 minutes to throw another set together, and you're good to go. So with the other two templates that you'll then need, this is the base template, and essentially that's once you've got the layout of what you want. I use this to trace out and to make a rough template, so I get an idea again of how things are going to lay around it. I don't worry about this one from the Orc one. I don't worry about being precise. Matter of fact, I want it to not be precise. I want it to be a little sloppy. But it just, again, it gives you a place to glue things and what you're going to do. And there's your template to basically make your to make your bases for it. And again, this will make the full section, or you just need to do one, and it will make a complete section. Or you can just carve it out, cut it in half, and there's your stuff. So, you know, again, simple template for that, and that's all I need. That template just stays and goes. And then this little template is essentially just what I've established as the center portion. So when you cut this out, you get essentially that center dip and cut that piece out. So save all the scraps, because what you end up doing when you take this corner, you know, this is all cut, you know, you're going to take a carve out a section here, you know, essentially look like this, and then you're going to clip off the ends to make those angles. For the Orc stuff, you use all those corners, and those make perfect little plates and stuff like that you can glue on. So those are your templates. That's all you need to do. You can punch a bunch of them out pretty quick. And at that point, once you've punched them out, you just need to glue them together, and trying different glues with mat board, because it is essentially just a really dense paper with some fabric on one side for things. You can use pretty much any glue you want. I'm lazy. I don't like things taking a long time, but I'm also not a big fan of using a bunch of super glue with this. So what I've been using, and this has become like my go-to glue for terrain, is this stuff. Goop. Get it at Home Depot. A lot of places carry it. And this stuff, while it's really thick, the unique part behind it is it's got some elasticity to it. It sticks pretty quick, but it takes a little bit to dry. So you've got a little bit of working time. So you can maneuver pieces around, you can squeeze things together, but pretty much once you've squeezed it together, it's sticking. And again, being Orky, what I just did is I let it be sloppy, and then I just threw some sand on the bottom to cover up the glue. The downside though of this is this stuff is really thick, so if you're trying to build a very precise one, you may want to use some tacky white glue that'll tack real quick, but in turn stick together fast, so you're not trying to hold this, because that is the one challenge here. Is all these angles, this doesn't just sit naturally. You need something to help it stick. So tacky glue would work really well, and you'll go. So this is going to be part one. As you can see, I've been starting to black base coat things, and here's some of just the smaller sections, and again, just inexpensive craft paint on this stuff. And once I black it up, then I'll finish painting that one, and I'll do a couple more tutorials with it. And I'm building a quad gun again, just a little stand that I had from some other pieces, and then I jumped into my bit box and built this as a quad gun for this. Yes, I only have 3, but I figure orcs can't count, so that looks like a quad to them. So I'll finish painting this up and do some other things, and at this point it'll just sit on top, and I'm not going to glue it or anything fancy. That way it makes it a little bit easier to transport. I may clip the legs off of this and go from there. But that's basically a simple quad gun, and it probably, again, cost all of maybe 50 cents in materials and about 45 minutes to an hour's worth of time. So I'll be back later once I finish planing these and putting some more details and do things like orc cliffs and stuff like that. So we will talk to you later.